Assembling this last night, and I decided not to live stream it, and I'll tell you why. Because it's just easy to make a mistake when you're live streaming and talking, and I can't afford to short things out, and I don't want to have an accident. So I decided I would just give you an update when I got halfway. Basically, there's 2 more sections to go on. I've nearly completed it, so I've got to wire up the balance leads. The balance leads have got to be connected up, and the way I've done it, I've used my nickel tabbing. So I'll prepare each layer of batteries, and they're actually alternated. So one layer we have the positive at this end, the other layer below it is positive at that end. So I minimise the amount of tabbing I need, so it keeps the resistance, the DC resistance of the connections as short as possible, so it minimises heat. And because obviously these nickel tabbing, it's not copper, it's steel and nickel plating, and they can get hot, so I'm trying to keep them away from the battery itself. And each layer I put a layer of Kapton tape. So my Kapton tape, oh, where have I put it? Oh dear me. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's over there. So I'll put it over there. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I've got elastic band holding it together right now. It's just stops it from separating. But so the battery tabbing goes down on to the battery box below it, each section. And when I've got this built, I'm gonna hold them together with something, obviously. So you can see the tabbing shows through these little holes, and that's where I'm going to be soldering the wires in for the balance leads. So balance leads, and I'm going to make a cover that, like a channel, a little bit of plastic channel, which will go where the balance leads will run down into each of the sections and on the other side. So you can see the silver showing through there, every other one. Obviously not that one, but it's every other one because it's alternate. And you can see a bit of the tabbing showing through the gap there. So yeah, I've got to keep these leads as short as possible, and trust me, it's hard, it's not easy, because I'm working with very short connections. And what I have to do, the fused one, the one with the thermal fuse, is here in this section. I marked it so that if I ever have to disassemble it, I'll know how to get access to the fuse to, you know, if it ever, it's rated at 93 Celsius, which is really low compared to a safety margin. I mean, it's way lower than the temperature that this ABS plastic would melt. This ABS plastic usually melts at around 210 minimum, so it starts to get soft at 210. So I wanted to go halfway on the thermal safety, so it basically it would cut the power off at half boiling, well, just below boiling point of water. So I'm keeping everything really tight, as safe as possible, minimal. And I also wanted to have a bit of overhead, so that if the batteries further, say if a battery further down got hot, it would give chance for the heat to travel up and to the fuse section. And obviously the ones in the middle get warmer anyway. So I wanted an overhead, a safety overhead, which is what I've got, because these batteries can usually go safe up to about 150 Celsius or so, but I'm keeping everything in the safety margin as much as possible, obviously. So if I take my elastic band off, you can just see how the sections will peel apart. So it's because it's staggered. Hang on, I don't really, it's all stuck together with. So if I do that, you can actually see that when the tabbing is on this top one there, and that's holding it. So you have to do that to get to it, and it comes apart like a concertina, right? So that gives me access when I'm doing the battery balance leads. So I've connected it so it's like a concertina. So if I do that, right, you can see how I can gain access to all the sections, and each section is connected by the battery tab in there, and this one is joined at the top because there's battery tabbing underneath there and battery tabbing at the bottom down there, and there's Kapton tape between each battery layer to protect so that nothing can actually short out or anything. I've got Kapton tape on this side, on the base sides, and it's got Kapton tape there and there and down there. So you can see how it goes, and my little pegs that I installed on these things locks everything together when I push it together. And the only reason for the elastic band is just temporarily until I get it done, because then I'll put some little straps down the sides that'll hold all this lot together. That way I can easily get it apart again if I need to maintain it. And it's easy to get my soldering iron in there and unsolder one section, take the whole section out. If one section goes a bit faulty, I can just remove the whole section and fix it and replace batteries or whatever, and I can get to it. So that's the main thing. But I want to make it serviceable, so it's going to be compact, but it'll be easy for me to service and in the future. So all I have to do is do that, put these all back together like this, and I'll have to put my elastic band back on. Where's my elastic band gone? That's weird. I don't know where it's gone. Hang on, let's just tip this over. Right, so just get the pegs lined up. Right, so you get the idea. So that's how I'm going so far. I've just got 2 more to do, and the reason I left that one last, this one, because I added a bit too much acetone to the side walls, and they warped a bit on me, so I had to soak them a bit more with acetone. Then I put some Kapton tape between the battery box, this black thing, which holds the batteries themselves. I put Kapton tape between that and the wall of this because it had acetone. I put acetone on it to soften it again because it had curled a bit. And the elastic bands are just basically holding it to keep its form, and I was letting that dry for a few days before I put this top one on. This is the last one. This is the one that goes on the very top, so I thought, well, there's no rush, I'll just wait a couple of days and I'll finish it off. So that's where I am at the moment. I also checked the voltage on it yesterday, and it's about 19 volts with all these on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, hang on, I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 sections I've done already, and I've just got 2 more to go, and that'll get this. I'll have to put some battery tabs and install the balance leads and the balance module, which is down here. And obviously, because I can split these slightly, I can get access when I want to solder wires on for the terminals on this thing as well. I've got to route the wires for that. I decided I'm going to use wires for that. I'm not going to use battery tabbing because I want something insulated, because it's going to be exposed on the outside, or it could be down this channel, because this thing goes down the channel, you see. It right, goes down here. So there is some battery tabbing down there, down this hole, so you can't really see it very well now, but there is some battery tabbing down there. So I have to put some insulation down here between this thing. I can't push this with the aluminium side facing it because it would short the batteries out, which is dangerous. So luckily on the back side there's a plastic cover, so I put a bit more Kapton tape on there, and this will just slot as long as I put the right way around. I'm going to put some Kapton tape inside here actually. I'll use my steel ruler, stick the Kapton tape onto the steel ruler, pull it through, and then when I push this thing down, it'll squeeze it up against that battery tabbing to insulate it, because as I say, I don't want to have an accident with the well, let me see what I'm showing my torch down there. Right, yeah, you can see it down there. That's what connects those cells on that side. So obviously the ones on this side are connected by this side, and on this side we've got the same thing. So yeah, I'm going to be insulating that anyway before I fit this thing, which will be the last job after I've got all my balance leads wired up, and that fits straight down in there like that, you see. So there we go, that's the update on it. I thought you'd find it interesting. I did get some more battery tabbing I ordered. It's actually narrower than what I'm using. I just decided to use what I'd left, and it looks like I have enough. Turns out I have enough of this stuff. This is what's left, so I've got plenty. I didn't even need to order some more, but anyway, it's good to have some around in case you need it. And I'm also printing the last 2 segments for the rotor, the magnet, the anti-drag system, and I am paying close attention to it to make sure that there's no mysterious Twilight Zone events. I don't know what happened the other day. I've been scratching my head all week about that. I just don't know how one of them segments got upside down. It's been driving me crazy, and I just don't want to think about it anymore. I must have done something. That's all I can think. I must have done something about thinking, but it was stuck down. How the hell did it get stuck down again? Anyway, I'm not going to go back there. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, the battery box is coming along really good. I'm happy with it. It's going to be quite compact. Oh yes, and by the way, I did check these containers, and they're all in series. If they fit in the unit, yes, of course they do. They will fit in quite easily, and in fact there's enough room to build 2 of these. I don't expect this to provide the full power for that ups. I mean, as I say, I'll be looking to get about 150 watts if possible, but it'll be good enough to run a monitor or lights or something if there's power cuts, because that's what we're expected to get at some point. So it'll be useful to have that, just in case there's power cuts and we need to run some equipment on it. Like, it could run a hi-fi, no problem, you know. On my amplifier it could run that easy, but I've got that plugged into my other ups at the moment. But yeah, it could run some small stuff. And the reason why I decided to use lithium and upgrade it to lithium is because the lead acid batteries that are in the ups, they only have a lifetime of about 5 years. They don't last very long because they need to be charge cycled, you know, discharge, charge, discharge, charge. And it's when they're kept in a permanent state of charge, the battery eventually boils dry. It basically dries out because the distilled water that's in there, it eventually off gases, and then the lead acid batteries just basically become junk. Then you've got to buy new ones, and they're quite expensive to buy. Whereas with lithium ion cells, you can keep these things topped off in a charged state for a long time. I mean, these lithium ion cells, I must have had them 15 years and they're still good. So I've checked I weeded out the weak ones. Obviously there were some weak ones in there, but the good thing about lithium ion is the steel units, they don't tend to off gas, and if they do, then you've got to get rid of them, because if they vent, they're not good anymore. But generally speaking, they don't dry out because of the lithium based and not water based. You don't have acid, not battery acid type things. And these have been sat in my cupboard. Well, I used to store them in the fridge at about 6 Celsius, because low temperatures prolong the life, because it reduces chemical reactions and corrosion, and it reduces the deterioration of the cells over a long period of time. I used to keep them in the fridge, but I don't anymore because my big fridge freezer packed up, so I couldn't put them in my other fridge because that's too cold for them. So they're pretty old cells, but they're all good. We'll find out when I finally get this thing put together. I can test load it and load it down and put my temperature gun on these things and monitor the temperature of the cells, and I'll be able to check to see how much heat is generated by the cells when they're under a decent load, like 150 watts or something, and see if they can actually deliver that. Obviously I don't want the temperature to go too high because I'll blow my thermal fuse. Yeah, so I thought I'd give you an update on that. I'm being very safety conscious, I always am. Safety first, that's what I say. You gotta be safe first. Otherwise you don't want to, well, you don't want to burn to death in your bed, do you? So anyway, so I'll be keeping close eye on it when I first put this together. It'll be monitored. All the battery boxes I built, which that one up there with the LEDs on it, I built that, what, 7 years ago, and it's been good. And that great big battery box on the windowsill, which I showed you before, the massive one that weighs like 3 kilograms, that was built about the same time, so about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's still going okay. I need to rebalance that big one at some point though. I need to take the cells out and redo it, but it's good. It's not dangerous or anything. It's temperature's good on it, and I suppose I could give you a quick. Oh, my charger is plugged in. It's got a built-in thermostat temperature thing on it, and so when I push, there's a little display right there. It's 13 Celsius in internal temperature right now. Press this button and that's the voltage inside it right now. 11.9 volts. As I said, I built this about 7 or 8 years ago. I've lost count how long it is, but it's been good. I've had no incidents with it, and so that was overkill really with safety. I mean, it was packed with that thermal and fire retardant material, which is going to be a nightmare when I want to take it apart at some point. But I decided not to go that route with these because a thermal fuse is all that's needed to shut this thing down if it gets too hot, and I'll be closely monitoring that anyway. So anyway, that's the update. The print's coming along. I noticed that the support material is at the bottom on the little notches. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's a bit dark, isn't it? Hang on. Where's my torch? Yeah, the support material is definitely at the bottom. Right, I'll point the laser at it. Right there. The bottom, the support material is definitely at the bottom. So, I don't know what happened before. Strange. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to have a Twix and watch YouTube again. Yeah, you know what I'm watching. Bye for now.